Hey, and welcome back to our video series on building your first application with the Bridge framework. In part 2, we'll walk through how to create all the tables for our simple contact management application. Let's get started. To begin, make sure you have the Bridge framework selected, and then go ahead and click on Create App. We have three options on how we can begin. We can start by importing data from Excel and use that as the starting point. You can also start with a blank app where you create your tables and interfaces from scratch, or you can import one of our existing templates from the marketplace. Let's build our application from scratch so that you can see all the steps that are required in building an app. The first step is to give your application a name. You will have your own naming convention. I will just call it Contact Management and click Finish. You should now be able to see that app container created. From here, you want to click Open. And when you open up any application inside the Bridge framework or the Flex framework, you will be able to see the navigation menu on the left-hand side. And these are the objects we're going to be using to construct our application. The most important place where you want to begin building your application is going to be the Tables object. Tables are the foundation of any app that you develop in Caspio, and that's where all of your data is going to reside. Now, because Caspio is a relational database, you can create one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many relationship types. In Caspio, there are three ways to go about building tables. One way is to use the AI Assistant by simply inputting a prompt. AI Assistant will give you a table with some sample fields that you can eventually modify. You can also build your tables by importing data, and you can also build your tables from scratch. Let's build all three of our tables for this use case from scratch. And I will start with the contacts table. And for my very first field, we're going to add contact ID, which becomes the primary key of this table. It's used to uniquely identify each row, and this ID is going to be automatically generated. Caspio provides various different types of data types that we can choose, including the 4 ID data types that we can select. I always like to go with GUID, GUID, which is a global unique identifier, and it's going to assign a unique ID to every single contact that we add to this table. Then you may want to list down the name of the contact, perhaps email. Let's go with phone. Let's also add maybe address fields, city, state, and zip. And then you might also have a status. Let's say you want to change the status on the contact from open to closed or new in progress. You can do that as well. After status, let's have maybe follow-up date. So if you want to choose when to follow up with that specific contact, you might also have internal notes. And last but not least, you could have date created. After you've added all of your fields, now it's time to go ahead and select the data type for each field. So for example, notes, we know it's going to be a long text. So instead of text 255, we're going to choose text 64,000 because it supports up to 64,000 characters. For date created, we have a timestamp, and we're going to stamp that on insert. So each time we add a contact to this table, we're automatically stamping the date and time. For our follow-up date, let's choose date and time data type so that we can manually choose when to follow up with this contact. And that's it for my data types and fields for the contacts table. Once you're finished, you can click on save and give it a name. Now, as far as naming convention, I always like to name my tables starting off with the framework name. So Bridge, EBL for table, CM for contact management, and then I will give my table a name, perhaps contacts. Because tables are shared between the Flex framework and the Bridge framework, that's the reason why I always like to add that prefix Bridge or Flex. That way I know this table belongs to this specific framework. Let's click Finish. And let's add 2 more tables very quickly. The second table I'm going to add is a user table. So let's go with user ID. Let's go with name, email, and password. Keep in mind you can add any field that you want that pertains to that table and your use case. These are just fields that I'm picking. For the email field, we're going to turn that into a unique field because you can't have 2 different users with the same email. Email has to be unique because we're going to use the email and password combination to log into our application. For the password field, we have a special data type called password. And for the user ID, once again, I'm going to pick the GUID, which is a global unique identifier, and we are going to click Save. Let's give this table a name. So bridge, PBL, CM for contact management, and we'll just call this users. And the final table is going to be a very simple lookup table that's going to have all of my status options. So let's just call this contact status for the field. We'll click Save. Let's give it a name, bridge, PBL, CM, statuses, and then we're going to open up this table and list down a few options that eventually we're going to use in our dropdowns. So I might have open and closed. So these are going to be my available options. Of course, you will have your own unique status options for your own use case. Let's go back out to the tables menu. And just like that, we were able to create all three of our tables for this simple contact management application. Last thing that I want to add, note that you can have unlimited number of tables created inside the frameworks. Thanks for watching part 2 of this video series. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video where we talk about building forms and reports. In other words, all the functionality needed to power our application. I'll see you there.